it's not too late. Oh, wait. I got to back up. I forgot my note. See, I made this note in here. Okay. So about failure, I wanted to tell this little story. And somebody might know right off the bat, but I'm going to try to have a dramatic reveal. Okay. So there's this guy years and years and years ago, this guy that worked for a newspaper in Kansas City. And so he worked for the newspaper, and finally his editor fired him, had to let him go.
Yep.
And in his, I guess it might have been an exit interview or whatever, but he fired him because he lacked imagination. This is a quote: lacked imagination and had no good ideas. So that's pretty devastating, right?
That's
it's bad enough to get fired, but then to get fired
and be like, hey, you lack this, you lack this.
You have no imagination. It's like, you don't have any good ideas.
Oh.
Yeah, you're gone. And then but this guy didn't stop. So he formed an animation company. So I don't know all the details, but he formed an animation company, a studio. It's called Laugh-O-Gram Studios. But that failed and went bankrupt. So then he had made a character when he did that studio. He made this character called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And this was like I don't know a lot about this stuff, but it was, copyrighted or whatever. It was this like character that he created. And somehow through legality, he lost the rights to that character to somebody else. So he moved to Hollywood with $40 in his pocket. Went on to create Mickey Mouse and build one of the most successful entertainment empires in history, Walt Disney.
I have heard of that man, yes.
So, and, I know there's a lot of controversy with Disney right now, but, but I mean, you can't deny he made an incredible, you think of Disneyland, and all the Disney movies
Everything.
And all these things.
Cruise ships.
Yeah, I mean.
It's worldwide. It's not just,
It's incredible.
It's everywhere.
And he failed.
Yeah.
Got fired.
Lack
just
of
failure. Yeah. Another one I wanted to look up, but we don't have time, is Abraham Lincoln. There was a lot of failures in his life.
There's a lot, because, when you passed these notes over to me earlier today, I was like, there's a lot of people that have failed, failed multiple times. I mean, Henry Ford wasn't successful until his 40s.
Right.
Forget his first name, but the founder of Walmart. In his 40s.
Yeah. Is that Sam Walton?
Yes, Walton. There you go. And the list goes on, and it's like some of them just didn't find that success until it just right, or some of them failed. Bankrupt companies. There's a gentleman and his wife that founded Gap, the clothing store. They had multiple small retail businesses that completely failed and fell apart, and then they, for whatever reason. Well, not for whatever reason. They tried again, and maybe they took their lessons from their failures, obviously, I would hope, and it became successful now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's a Gap around anymore.
I think so.
We used to have one at the outlet, I thought.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
either way. Proverbs, I wrote Proverbs 24:16 talks about the righteous man, falling 7 times. But the key is, we talk about it all the time, but is he got up. He keeps on getting up.
Yeah, if you stay down, then the story's over.
Yeah, then it's a true failure.
Yeah,
But if you flop, that's why I said flop, because failure sometimes sounds definitive,
right?
And it sounds like it's over.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't failed in a while or flopped in a while, then maybe it's time to push out of your comfort zone, because that's how. You think of that Disney example or different ones. Yep. That's how they became so successful, is they had some tenacity.
Yeah. There's even other ones that I was just, browsing through. I'm like, that name looks familiar. Click on it. I was like, or ones that actually didn't look familiar. I'm like, wonder what this person's, famous for. The creator of IBM, the creator of Intel. They all had just kind of like nothing for their several careers, and then all of a sudden the IBM guy had like 4 different companies that he brought together to create, I think, IBM.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I could be totally wrong on some of this, but that was just like a brief scrolling through like all these names. I mean, a lot of them were actors and stuff like that didn't get their big break till later in their career, where that one definitive movie or something really shot them up.
And some of that could look like luck, but it's because they kept trying.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they didn't give up. Like, okay, I'll just say this for an actor. They didn't just stop because they didn't get the part.
Right.
No, they tried again for the next one. They tried again for the next one.
Kept on developing their craft.
They take the small role here and then another small one here, and they stack it up until they do get that big lead role, that Oscar award or whatever.
And or like the famous story of Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team or whatever.
So that's another great one. And again, there's probably a lot more that you could just be like, had they given up, had Michael Jordan given up, what would things be like today for the NBA?
Oh yeah, totally different world.
You talk about how many people growing up watching him at a young age through his career turned into NBA players and stuff like that.
Yeah, he had an impact.
If they hadn't had that, well then, where would they be? Would they not be the? It's crazy to think about. Like, take one little piece out of that puzzle. Someone just decided to give up. Oh, I guess I'm not good enough, so I'll just take up something else and whatever. Giving up, failure, flopping.
You got to push. You got to keep pushing. Pushing those limits, because if you play it safe, if you did push the limits one time, and it backfired on you, and you're like, well, I don't want that to ever happen again. I got too embarrassed. I got too, whatever. Then you are not maximizing your potential. God created us to maximize our potential. God created us to grow. And so if we are now going against God's will when we don't push those limits.
Yeah. Don't put yourself in that little box of creativity if you can't.
Yes.
Just a small little cube and that's all you stick with. And again, it may work for a period of time. You may see, we get 2-3 bus kids or this or that, but like, okay, but don't you want 20? Don't you want 200?
Yeah.
Exactly. So don't hold that. And again, don't hold back what God has given you to go out there and try, flop, get back up. Try it. Try a different way.
Well, this makes me think of, and we're spending a long time on this point. That's fine, but it makes me think of our memory verse just recently in Sunday school, James 4:17. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. Well, I feel like that's on a higher level as Sunday school leaders. We know to do good. We know to read. We can look at examples. We talk about Brother Booker all the time. Their Sunday school is amazing. It's awesome. And Brother Chris Bradshaw in Union City, I think it's Union City. That guy is incredible, praying kids through and stuff. So there's these Sunday schools that have these awesome dynamics. Mm-hmm. And so if nothing else, we can look and say, okay, this can be done. And so we know to do good. And I'm not saying we have to be exactly like them. We're not. We are our own Sunday school. Right? And there's unique Sunday schools all over. Brother James Pelletier, they do an awesome Sunday school, a totally different style, completely different. They have classrooms and separated ages. And so, and all these guys I mentioned, by the way, they have podcasts, which I need to advertise. But
shout out to
those. And I just can't remember all their names. I got to get them on the list.
Next time we'll have the whole.
But anyway, so we have all these Sunday schools that we can look at, and we know that this is. I feel like this is God's will, because they're praying kids through, they're reaching out, all these things. And so we know that is there's that potential there. So we know to do good. And if we don't do it, if we're just like, well, that's not me. It's a different world now. Yeah. It's too late.
We're good enough.
Yeah, we're good enough. Then, or like, we tried that. Yeah. And it didn't.
And again, I'm sure we've some podcast somewhere here since we've started doing this didn't just come to be. Like what we're even doing now.
Oh, right.
So there was failure getting to where we're at. And hopefully there
wherever
will be.
That is.
Yeah. And hopefully, at some point, weird to say, hopefully there is a flop or a failure that we experience.
Yeah. Hey, not too long ago, we had one on the podcast live.
Yes.
And I kept it in the video, Brother Aaron and I. And the wall, did I tell you about that?
I don't know.
The wall fell over.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I don't know if we talked about it during I think you might have mentioned it before one of the last ones we did.
Somebody wants to see that on YouTube. Go look it up. It's
that's right. Yeah,
the podcast is Find the Funny. I think it was Brother Aaron. So
it happens.
It was funny. Okay, really, really fast. Number 3, which our timers said, forget it. You guys are taking too long. But number 3 is it's not too late. And so again, talking about some of those world examples, Harland Sanders. That started KFC, Colonel Sanders, at age 65. Now, I did look it up, and it's kind of confusing. Like AI said he started at 40, but he didn't. He served some chicken at a gas station at 40. But he did something, and he failed too. But he was 65 years old. And look at KFC. It's everywhere, whatever you think of it.
It's international.
It's successful, yeah. I didn't know that. It's international.
Yeah.
And he started at 65. I mean... So there's
most people are retired
example.
or retiring at that point. Yes.
And then a biblical example for you is Moses.
Yep.
He was 80 years old when he saw the burning bush.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 40 years old when he killed the Egyptian. Decided to take matters into his own hands. So I mean, and I know they lived a little longer back then, but still, that's crazy. So it's not too late. Philippians 1:6 says, "Being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ." So again, that's going back to God designed us to have potential, and God designed us to keep reaching. You're not done. Going back to the title, we'll answer the question. No, you're not done. Not in God's will. You're not done.